Hello and welcome to this recording on OpenAthens Administration. My name is Ryan Salas and I am a training specialist for Southeast Asia at EBSCO. These are the objectives. It is my hope that by the end of this recording, you'll be able to navigate the OpenAthens Administrator dashboard, create new administrator accounts, activate resources, describe and access statistics, and finally locate relevant help and support materials. And to give you an overview of OpenAthens, it is an identity and access management platform which provides seamless access to various publisher platforms with one login. It uses SAML or Security Assertion Markup Language to provide a secure handshake to the library's resources. And it also allows the library or organization to gather granular usage reports at the platform level. And this is the main landing page of OpenAthens. This is called the dashboard, and this is the first page you see when you log in. So it contains various bits of data about the account. On the left hand side, you'll see the action buttons. There are shortcuts to common features like creating an account, viewing the accounts, your resources, and so on. And from here, you can also view and access different features like your most popular resources for the last 7 days and so on. Now, located at the upper right hand of our screen, we can see flags that say not activated and are due to expire, or in this case, we have expired flags. So, the flags here correspond to what we call personal accounts. So the expired flags relate to what we call personal accounts, or it could also include admin accounts. When you click on the flag, it takes you to your accounts and specifically to your expired accounts. So these are the accounts that have already expired. To go back to the dashboard, you can click on the dashboard button. It's hyperlink and it's going to bring us back to the landing page. And these are the tools relating to OpenAthens portals. Some of these buttons, such as the accounts button, have a badge on them that shows you a relevant total. So for example, the badge on accounts show how many accounts are under your direct control. If you click on the tile, it's going to show you your total personal accounts, your access accounts, administrator, your deleted account, and your connector. Let's go back to the dashboard. Next, you've also got here your create account. So if you're using a connector, you probably don't need to access the create account tile unless you need to create an admin user. So if you click on the create account tile, it will allow you to create a personal and admin account. To create an admin role, you have to create a personal account first, then you'll allocate or assign an admin role to that account. So we're going to skip this process for now. I'll go back here later to discuss the process. From the dashboard, you can also click on the resources tile. So the resources button will take you to the catalog, and this is where you can manage who has access to your resources. So once click, it will show you the OpenAthens catalog. You'll also see your allocated permission sets, and you can also see your custom SAML resources. And as mentioned, this is the actual catalog. So again, I'll go back here momentarily. Going back to the dashboard, we've also got the security tab, and this is actually a quick link into a statistical report for auditing. So from here, you can filter the report by date, period, and different activities that have happened in the account. So you can go here and filter the activity and choose an event and then set the event and view the details on the screen. Basically, security will show you what has happened in OpenAthens in terms of different activities such as account banned, account created, and so on. Now going back to the dashboard, next we've got downloads. So the download button relates to your account downloads, which will be generated in your personal accounts. And finally, we have the organization. So the organization is going to provide us with a quick snapshot of your account details. From here, you can determine who has an admin account, what their role is, your unique ID, entity ID, your scope, and the total accounts. If you hover over your mouse in the total accounts, it will show you the breakdown. So my organization has 21 administrators, 38 personal accounts, 11 access accounts, and 644 local accounts. Let's go back to the dashboard. The dashboard will also show us data retrieved from the last 7 days. So the data shown here are based on your different resources. Just beside it, you can also see the recent activity of your organization, which is a bit like the auditing panel. And this section will also show us a summary of certain activities that have happened over the last 30 days, such as account creation or deletion or users transferred in or out. So it will also show you real-time updates that have been happening within your organization. And just above this, you'll see the summary for the previous 30 days, which refers to the personal accounts. Now that's the main part of the dashboard. So we're still here on the dashboard. And as you can see, you've also got little panels at the top. So from here, you can click on the accounts and click on list, and it will show us the list of accounts. So this list all the accounts under the customer's direct control, whether they be activated or not, live or expired, but doesn't include accounts under sub-organizations. So once clicked, it will show us the personal access administrator deleted. So the deleted accounts will appear on this tab. So they are deleted automatically after 30 days but can be recovered or permanently deleted sooner via the actions menu. However, please note that this only applies to OpenAthens accounts, not local connections. And finally, we've got the connector here. So we've got the first name and then the last name, and you also have the email address. So when you click on the account, it's going to show you the details about this account. So you have here your account settings. You can adjust the expiration date. You can also reset the password, and you can also see the notes about the account, the permissions, and then the activity on that account as well. If you want to search for a specific account, you can use the search bar to find a specific account. So for example, you want to search for someone whose name is Ryan. So you can enter the name in the search bar and click on search. Now the default here is personal, but if you click on the connector, it will show you list of accounts that match Ryan. So aside from, you can also use quotes for exact matches. So you can enclose your keywords within double quotation marks. So I'm now going to search for my surname and click on search. So we have the last names here, and it's just showing me surnames or the surname that I'm looking for. Now, the advanced search will allow you to find both OpenAthens and local accounts with more control. So you can search live accounts, currently expired accounts. You can also filter by organization, filter by account status, restrict to administrator by role, and you can also choose to show results where you can also choose an attribute. So let's go back to the dashboard. So apart from that, you can also create an account if you want to. So let's click on accounts. Again, if you're using a connector, you probably don't need to create accounts. One of the reasons for creating a personal account is if you wish to grant the visitor access to your resources for a short period, then it's ideal to create a personal account. So I'm going to walk you through the process of creating an account and an admin account as well in a bit. Now, the accounts that you have created will all be part of the personal accounts. So we're done with the accounts. Next, we've got resources. So in the resources, you'll be able to see your catalog. So this is where you'll find a list of all the potential resources that could be accessed by OpenAthens if you hold active subscriptions to them with the suppliers. You've also got your permission sets, and here is your redirector link generator. So the resource link generator allows you to create redirector links that will then take the end user to the defined landing page or pages in compatible resources. Next, we've got statistics. So in statistics, you'll be able to find the auditing report and usage report. And since I'm using an internal account, I won't be able to see the usage reports here, but I'll show you later how you can access the usage report. Another thing that you'll find useful as well is the preferences. So if we click on the preferences drop down, you will see the organization, accounts, email templates, error templates, and so on. If we go to organization, this is where we can set the admin roles to personal accounts. So from here, you'll also see useful information about the organization. Here you've got the organization public ID, your organization details, public contact details, and your telephone support PIN. The administrator tab will also allow you to view all your current accounts and modify them. You can click on the administrators tab, and you also got notes, so you can view the notes for this organization, and you can also access the activities and sort it by date. Let's go back to preferences. Next, we've got account. So this preference page controls items that can be set differently for accounts per organization rather than those that are set for your whole domain. So next, we've also got email templates, and it's just going to show you what's available here. So these email templates use templates, or these emails rather use templates which customers can customize. Now, aside from email templates, you've also got error templates. So there are some error messages that allow you to add some custom text if the user clicks on the contact your organization button. In the preferences as well, you'll find some useful information in the domain. And there are certain settings that you can configure, like your logo. So if you need to update the logo of your organization. So let's go back to the preferences. We've also got here schema editor. So this is where we can report on certain attributes that we pull across from your connector. And again, we're going to touch on this later. So that's the preferences. Next, we've got management. So first, we've got My Athens. So My Athens is a user portal that is available to all OpenAthens customers. It comes in two tiers. You have My Athens Basic and an optional upgrade to My Athens Plus, which has more features. We also have here connection. So this is where you can manage your connections to things like federations, your local authentication connections, and self-registration schemes. Next, we've also got here groups. So groups are a way of organizing accounts within your organization. So groups can also be used for reports and statistics. So any groups that exceeds are displayed as a list, and to the right of the group is a count of how many accounts are associated with this particular group. The next thing that we're going to discuss is how to create a personal account. I will show you the process and how you can allocate the admin role to your personal account. Before that, I'd like to mention that there are two roles. First is the owner, which is the top level access and can do mostly everything. And then we have the administrator, which can also do most of the same functions except the schema editor, release policies, and domain-wide settings. To create an account, you can go to the account section, hover over create, then select personal account. Once clicked, it will show you fields that you need to fill out. One thing you'll notice as well is the prefix here, which is usually the acronym of your institution. So the prefix will be appended on your username. First, you need to set the username and whether they can also log in via email address. Then, whether you want them to email the code for activation, or you can also specify the password for them. So I'm going to type my username. I'm not going to select login by email address. I'm going to also set the expiration date on the 19th of December in 2026. Then I'm going to create my account and specify a password now. So just make sure that you follow the guidelines, and once you're done, just click on next. Now, I also wanted to mention, just in case you get a warning that the email address is in use, then you can use the search function to find it. So if you don't immediately see it in the results, you can check the deleted tab. So once you click next, you'll be prompted to fill out the details. So you just need to enter the required information and click on next. So this is, as you can see, our optional details. So you can skip this if you don't have any groups. So we're going to click on next, and the last part is the permission sets. And you can choose the permission set that you want to assign for this account. So I'm going to assign default permission set for this account, and I'll click on create account. Now the account has been successfully created. You can check the account by jumping back to the list. So we're going to go back to accounts, and we'll go to list. Now the account that we've just created will be included in your personal accounts. You can scroll down. You can also do Control F, and here is the account that I've just created. you can click on the username, and it will allow you to make necessary changes. So you can change the expiration date. You can also reset the password, and you can also configure the account details. So you can update the department, position, you have phone number as well. Then you can also revoke the default permission set and assign a different permission set for this account. And you can also see the notes and the activity. The next thing that I'm going to do is we're going to assign the account that we've just created with an admin role. To do that, we're going to go to preferences and go to organization. After which, we're going to click on administrators. And as you can see, you have the option here to add an administrator role. So what we're going to do is I'm going to search for the account that I've just created. So here is my account, and then I'm going to click on add role. And as discussed, you have your domain owner and your organization administrator. And if you want to know more information about this, you can click on learn about roles, and it will show you helpful information about the roles. Please note that the owner role can assign an administrator role, but the administrator role cannot assign an owner role to anyone. So once you're done, you can click on save changes. I'm going to assign an owner role for myself, and I'll click on add. Now once you have assigned an admin role to your personal account, the account will automatically move from your, so I'm going to click on save changes, and then I'll go back to list, and your account will move from your personal accounts into your admin tab. And here is the account that I've created. Now, apart going back to the accounts tab, we also have here the bulk upload. So bulk upload allows you to create, modify, and delete personal accounts in bulk. And finally, we have accounts not activated. So this performs a preset search for accounts where the user has not yet set a password or confirmed their email address. So you can go here, and as you can see, these are the accounts that are not yet activated. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is the resources. Now, when you're looking at OpenAthens resources, or even resources that you subscribe to, it will be classified using these resource types. The first one is federated, and this corresponds to any vendor or publisher that is part of the OpenAthens Federation. And you can access these resources by going to your resources tile. You can also go to your resources tab and go to catalog. Then you can go to your available tab, and this is everything that's available here. Just a quick note, just because it's available doesn't mean that they are activated. So there is a process to activate a resource. So once the resource is activated with the vendor or the publisher, we then allocate it to a permission set. Now, aside from federated catalog, you might also have some subscriptions that don't appear on the catalog. But those particular resources, we would call them non-federated SAML. And you'll find those under your custom resources. So the resources in here are SAML compliant, hence you can set them up within the custom section using a metadata URL from the publisher. The third type of resource is called a proxy resource, and these are created if the publisher supports IP authentication. If you come across this type of resource, you can use EBSCO Connect to raise a support case for those particular resources. And please ensure that you provide the URL and the details for the resource once you raise a case. Now, these are the three resource types. The other thing that we're going to talk about as well is activating resources. You can activate resources by going into your resources. So from the dashboard, you can go to your resources style, click on available, and you can then search for a platform using the search bar. And anything that's green will signify that it's not allocated to a permission set yet. So what you can do is you can go here, check the list, and if you want to allocate a resource, make sure that you activate it first with the vendor before you allocate them. Otherwise, your users will get errors when they access it. Generally, the publishers require the following information. First is your entity ID. So it identifies an identity provider or service provider within a federation. Publisher will also need your scope. So it identifies your organization, and depending on the vendor, they might also need your IP. So this information is available on your all organization. So you can go to your preferences and go to your organization, or you can also click on all organization style. So this is where you can access your unique ID, your entity ID, and your scope. So there are two ways to activate resources. The first option is to reach out directly to the vendor. The second option is to request EBSCO to do it on your behalf. So here is the example of an email that our support team would send to vendors. So this email is for federated. So in here we'll include the details of the organization. We'll also indicate that please do not remove any existing IPs. And we'd also provide the following details such as the name, entity ID, federation scope, and so on. We'll also mention to let us know when access has been set up so we can test it out. Here is another email, but this one is for proxy resource. So in here, we'll ask if they are capable of setting up SAML because that would be the best option. But if not, we'll provide the IP. Now, if you would like EBSCO to contact service providers on your behalf, you can go to Connect and raise a support case with the following information. We need your provider name, packages or titles included, and we would need at least one title with full text so that we can test if it's working once it's been activated. We would also need your subscription ID and the email address of the primary contact. And as mentioned, this can all be done in EBSCO Connect by raising a case, and it will be forwarded to our support team who will then reach out to those publishers or vendors. For this very reason, we highly recommend and encourage customers to create their EBSCO Connect accounts. You've also got the redirector link generator, and this allows you to create redirector links that will take the end user to the find landing page in compatible resources. So this will only generate links for redirectable resources, not for bypassable resources. In a nutshell, the OpenAthens redirector helps users reach subscription-based content easily through one consistent link, handling all the tricky login and routing steps behind the scenes. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the connector settings. And you'll find the connector settings under the Management tab, and you've got here the connections. So you can also access the OpenAthens Federation, and here are the details of the connector. So we can go here, and you've got your relying party. You've also got the attributes, and as you can see, the attributes are releasable to OpenAthens. We can also see some of these in the schema editor, and we can make it reportable in the reports as well. And we've also got the permissions. The other thing that's really important here is certificates. And certificates will let you know the expiration date of your account. And we highly recommend taking note of this and recommend including this in your calendar, and reach out to your IT team and make sure that the certificate is updated before it expires. So this is the expiration of the certificate. So in the advanced as well, it will show us information about SAML that's being used and the profile as well. And finally, the contact will indicate the main contact person for OpenAthens for your organization. So that's the connector settings. We're also going to discuss the reporting module. Now, under the reporting module, we're going to see things like our user accounts or activities like successful versus failed logins and the total versus unique logins. And it will also show us the resource usage, and this will also include logins to each platform. And lastly, you'll be able to break down the reports by group permission sets or other reportable attributes. Now, before we head over to the report, I'd also like to briefly discuss the reporting attribute schema editor. You'll find the schema editor under the preferences. So here is schema editor. Please note, however, that the schema editor is only available for owner admin accounts. So you've got things like your core attributes, and here is your custom attributes. Now, the core attributes are hardwired into the system. So the core attributes cannot be edited and will appear in interfaces ahead of any custom fields you add. And as you can see, username is reportable and releasable. So if you want to make any core attributes as reportable, just to the right, you can mark this as reportable. So if it's reportable, means that it will be recorded and aggregated for statistics report. While releasable means you're releasing data to service providers. Now that's the attributes. To access the reporting module, you can go to statistics. And since I'm using a demo account, I need to access it from a different location. So here is the dashboard, and it gives you a snapshot of the resource usage. So you have your top resources, here is your total authentications, your total accounts, and you've also got the heat map of the usage. So let's go to top resources. So the resource axis covers the transfer of users to resources. These statistics are based on a user being transferred to a resource as part of an authentication or authorization event. They cannot show what the user did on the publisher side, and because they can only record the transfer to the resource when the resource sends the user to OpenAthens as part of a sign-in. So because of this, it might not match up exactly with what a publisher reports. For example, their stats might also include IP authorized user. So from here, you can go to the reports. You can also configure the dates of the report. So you can click on the calendar icon and adjust the dates. So we can also click the resources. So you can choose a specific resource. And at the moment, the resources are sorted by resource and department. So there is a secondary breakdown. So you can select the resource and then you can choose the secondary breakdown. So we can break this down by department or by position. And of course, you also have other attributes here. So I'm going to break this down by position and I'll click on apply. So we've got the resource here and we've got the secondary breakdown. You can also configure the granularity of the results shown. Just click on the drop down and you can select whether you like to configure the granularity by hour, by day, or by month. And you can also, as mentioned earlier, you can also change the start month and the end month. Now above that, you also have the option to download the data as well. So you can choose whether to download your data in Excel. So just click on save to computer. So you can download this in Excel or CSV. There is also an option to save reports. So once you have set all the parameters, you can schedule the report. So you can click on the clock icon. So just type the name, the report name, and you can also configure some settings here. So you can generate report monthly, weekly, or daily. And you can also choose where to send the report. So you can send the report to administrators of this organization or to other recipients. And once you have scheduled it, the reports will appear in your saved reports. So you can also change the view of the results and decide whether you like to view it in a series view or column view. So that is your resources. Let's go back to the dashboard. I'll click on the dashboard button. Next, we've got total authentications. So authentication is just about signing into OpenAthens and not about access to content. It will tell you how many user sessions there have been and by how many unique users. Now, if we look at the graph, you may notice that you've got dotted and solid lines. When you see a dotted line, it means that it's distinct or individual users separate from the total. So for example, a user will be counted as a unique user no matter how many times they've signed in that day or they signed it that day. And it just means that one person has logged in and perhaps accessed more than one resource in that particular session. Now that's the total authentication, and you can also configure some settings here like granularity and the dates. Next, we've got total accounts. So this section will show us the account activity. So you've got your personal, access, organization, and so on. So again, you can break it down by daily, and you can also change the dates here. So you can break down by account status, account type, and activity. Now let's go back to the dashboard, and finally we have here the sessions by country heat map. So it's just going to give you information where users come from over the past days. So you can also change the granularity here if you want to. So you can change this to last 24 hours, last 7 days, and last 30 days. Now that's the reporting modules. And for help resources, you can go to EBSCO Connect. Just search for EBSCO Connect on your browser. And I've also put together some documentation and reference or quick links. So you've got the OpenAthens onboarding guide, and you can also go to OpenAthens documentation page. So you can search for OpenAthens documentation page on your browser, and it takes you to this page. So aside from that, if you have suggestions for improvements or new features, you can now log them to their website. So in addition to being able to submit a request, you can also vote and comment on existing enhancements. So you can go to this page. Here, so you have the OpenAthens Ideas portal, and you can log a new idea, and as mentioned, you can also vote and comment on existing enhancements. And that takes me to the end of my presentation. If you have any questions in the future, please feel free to contact me at ryansalas@absco.com. And I also have here my contact details, and you can contact me via Viber or WhatsApp. So thanks again, everyone, and have a great day.